Welcome to another episode of Cartastrophe. Today we're working on another project, different from pretty much all the others that we've done thus far. My son, Jacob, who you've seen in other videos from down in Virginia, he's made his way back to Pittsburgh. He did not bring anything back with him other than himself and a bunch of tools. We are in the process of working on a project here where we're going to be putting a motor into one of the cars that's been in the family for quite some time. One of the first ones that we actually restored. You see it in the intro. It's the, what year Grand Prix is that, 82? 85 Grand Prix G-body that we restored. It's in that burnout. So that motor that was in that car, since the beginning, it has finally given up the ghost. It's not completely dead, but it'll run. The oil pressure is extremely low, and pulling the oil filter and looking at the oil, it was a full-on glitter show. So before it completely eats itself, the decision was made to pull it. Originally, it was going to be to redo that motor and put it back in, but another project was purchased, a 71 Trans Am was purchased with a 455 in it, and that motor is no good. So this motor originally started out as a 403. It was sent out, it was bored, and Edelbrock heads were purchased for it for 455 heads, and some work was done to those so that it would they would be able to be accepted onto the 403 and the intake manifold that's on it now. So let me flip the screen around here. So this is the car we're talking about. All of us are here, all the members that are participating in the the YouTube channel. My apologies. My younger brother is out picking up a motor for another project, another G-body Grand Prix that we have that has extremely low miles on it, but yeah, it ran out of oil and it blew itself up. So he's up picking up a motor to replace that motor. But this is the car. And Jim, if you open up the hood. So might be hard to see, but this is what we were running. Like I said earlier, it's the 403 with the aluminum Edelbrock heads on it. There was a lot of money purchased in this serpentine kit for the front of the motor. And interestingly, we were having problems over the course of pretty much the whole lifespan of this motor with it throwing belts, or the belts really not aligning very well. And part of that had to do with the aluminum heads and the bosses that were there for the accessories, the original accessories. So my brother, Jim, who actually owns this car, broke down and spent the money on the serpentine kit, and I think this thing was on there one year, if that, and then the motor decided to give up the ghost. Now, this originally started out as a single plane intake manifold, and the best time we were able to run with this with 373 gears in it in the quarter mile was about a 12.2. And really, we weren't very much impressed with the money that was in the motor. We kind of felt like there was a problem going on with the transmission. And, you know, at that point, disappointment settled in. We're resigned to the fact that we're just not going to really race it that much anymore. So we transitioned to a dual 4 intake and decided, well, let's see what that'll do at the track. And the time got worse, and there's probably a bunch of videos out there that you can watch that talks about dual 4s and how they look good, but they don't necessarily perform as well as a single plane high-rise intake. So we kind of proved that by putting one on this motor, and we went from a 12.2 to a 12.6. Now, part of that is our probably a lot of our own ignorance and tuning and stuff like that. And we were much younger back then, and really just learning how to set the car up. So time goes on. We once again avoided the racetrack and figured, you know what, we're just going to drive it and enjoy it. We took it to Carlo, took it to some car shows, and car kind of sat for a while. Bring it back out, once again, fix the pulley issues. Then we start having problems with the oil pressure. So the decision was made at that point, once again, to pull this motor. We're going to use this for the Trans Am. Probably not going to race it, just keep it pretty much the way it is. But being older and wiser, and interestingly having probably a little bit more money than we had when we were younger, the decision was made, hey, you know what? We watch these videos, these guys on these videos, on these TV shows. What do? They at some point they're muddling around with junkyard pieces and parts, but they get wiser and smarter. What do? They pick up the phone and they call a place and they order themselves a motor. So we decided, hey, I shouldn't say we. We're going to say my brother decided I'm going to do that. So he called, Jim, what's the name? Skip
White Performance.
He calls Skip White Performance and orders himself a motor. So he orders himself up a 454.
572.
Well, I'm sorry, 572. It's a 572. 720 some horsepower approximately on the dyno. Way more horsepower than we were getting out of that. It was pretty cool trying to keep an Oldsmobile Pontiac type motor in with a Pontiac, and we just decided, you know what, we're going to stick with the tried and true big block Chevy performance. So part of the history that I was telling you earlier was that there was an assumption that there was a problem with the transmission, and that assumption turned out to be true in the sense that it gave up the ghost as well, but it just never felt like the torque converter was fully flashing over and locking up, going. It just always felt like it was just never really engaging. So my brother orders up a full-on new transmission for that. And what stall converter you have?
2500 in there now. I got a 3000 for that.
So there's a 2500 stall in it currently. What we are going to do today is we're going to pull the hood off of this. There was some discussion about pulling the front clip off. I'm opposed to that personally, but it's not my car, so we'll do whatever the owner says. But I think we can get it out of here. Now, I know from experience, because I have a G-body that my son and I put together that has a big block in it, that it is not going to clear the AC case on it, at least the back corner of the valve cover. So we'll get this motor out, and we're going to have to massage that fiberglass somehow. Usually I'm a big proponent of finding something that's junk and doing something with that so you're not messing with the factory components of the car, but the G-body stuff is getting harder and harder to find. It's not like you can go to a junkyard anymore and just pull one off of a car. So that's where we're at. We're at the beginning stages of this, and we'll take some video along the way. This engine comes complete with everything. You can see the accessories are on it, has a distributor on it. I believe you said it also has the carburetor came with it. So the way you see it in the video on the engine dyno at Skip White Performance is basically the way it was shipped to us. Did you say we're using the ignition system that's on the car currently, or that came with it?
I'm gonna use that.
Oh, okay. So it does not have the ignition system on it, but we have.
Distributor and everything.
Yeah, has a distributor, but he has all that on this car already. So that's kind of the background of it all. We're not sure what it's going to do at the track, and there's enough video out there of very nice cars putting themselves into the Jersey barrier, and that's something I always warn my brothers about when you have this kind of time and money into a car, that, you know, a broken axle or oil on a track will put you into the barrier. So, you know, you might run it once or twice just to see what it'll do, but it's not going to obviously turn into a full-on race car. I think if we're going to do that, we'll switch to something a little less nice, maybe, where it won't hurt so bad if it gets damaged. But, you know, there's two ways to look at it, right? You can make it all nice and have it sit in the garage and watch it shine there, or take it out and use it, because, you know, what's the point in having it if you aren't using it? So we're probably going to start using our stuff a little bit more, you know, now that we're like, hey, it's time. So working on stuff is part of the fun. Using it is what we've been missing lately. So thank you for watching. I'm gonna set the camera up and get some video of us working on this, pulling this apart, and getting this motor out of here, and kind of share things as we go along the way. So like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy.